Good morning, all. Welcome to Stevie's final production. What we have this morning, and what I'm going to give you a hint of otherwise, was produced by a man, instructions given, instructions to be followed, and so I'm following. But what I do now, as my tribute to my brother, is unscripted. I want you to sit back, close your eyes, and let the video images of your memories of Stephen roll. And while you're doing that, I'm going to give you a part of some private thoughts that Stephen and I shared. In particular, there was one conversation, just the two of us, where he said, "Why me?" I didn't have an answer. But it raised a much bigger question. Stephen, to give you a little sense of perspective and progression, Stephen left here in the middle of February 2017 this year. And as I put it, Stephen walked to the plane, he carried his own luggage, and he was looking forward to finding what was wrong. He returned at the end of April for the Danish chapel choir. And he had been going through medical testing, but no affirmative diagnosis yet. And many of you may have been astonished to see him on stage with a cane and a wheelchair. 2 weeks later, I went with him to Johns Hopkins for what would be the diagnosis, May 10th. At that point, when I returned to meet with Stephen, he was on a walker and a wheelchair. June 16th, so May 10th, we had the diagnosis. June 16th, he had a fall. From that date, he never was able to stand or walk on his own. And he had difficulties at that initial time of raising his hand to feed himself. From there, he declined rapidly. Mind you, on diagnosis day, we were given a substantially longer period of time. Stephen wanted to be and offered to be the poster child, an advocate for ALS, because so little is known about the disease. He wanted to give a sense of hope and a sense of awareness without warning. And it has no known cause. And so I bring this message to you. ALS can affect any of us. 90% of ALS patients are what are called random. 10% are genetic. The first thing the doctor checked was whether we had a genetic form, because there is at least one other case of ALS in the family, but removed. It also caused a certain amount of anxiety in me. It was not genetic. And so Stephen was in that category, the 90% of people who get ALS for no reason at all. What is ALS? Very vividly described, it's the brain sending out so much electrical charges that it fries the nerve endings. And so the nerves that give the muscles tone or to move, die. So it starts with the extremities, the legs, the feet, the hands, and then it goes to the throat. Swallow, eating, talking, and then finally breathing. Stephen had gotten to that stage. He was having difficulty swallowing, he was having difficulties talking, and difficulties breathing. Stephen and I have often compared his case to the case of Pete Fritz, who you may know as the guy who started the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. To give you a sense of compare, Pete was the former captain of the Boston College baseball team and was a professional baseball player in Europe. He was diagnosed with ALS in March of 2012 at the age of 27. At Boston College, he majored in communications and history. He lived on campus and played for the Boston College baseball team and became a captain. During the years in college, he played summer ball in Maryland, Connecticut, and Hawaii. After college, he went to Hamburg, Germany to play baseball in the German Baseball League while coaching German youth. His passions, other than that, included playing, watching, coaching, reading about and talking about sports, travel, and boating. It is believed that Pete's ALS was manifested after he was hit in the wrist by a baseball. Fritz has declined since his diagnosis, not as rapidly as Stephen, but now more recently, rapidly. He was last back in the hospital in October. He was in the hospital in June, just about the same time that Stephen went to the hospital. And he now speaks through the aid of a ventilator. He breathes through a ventilator. He speaks through a computerized system that utilizes his eyes. And he is active on Twitter and other things. When he started the Ice Bucket Challenge, he, like Stephen, wanted to follow a mission. He raised $220 million in funds for the ALS Foundation and research. The need for research for a cure and a cause is imperative. However, there are dangers in the research that has been done and incomplete research. I give this by way of actual example. Stephen was referred to be a candidate for a drug trial. He was going to enter that drug treatment, and so we changed clinical settings. Came to find out that this drug that was highly recommended had been tested outside of the United States on 320 people, of which only one had tested positive to the drug. It helped reverse, it helps sustain a level. There is also a need for competence in clinical care. And these two things mesh together in what the ALS Foundation does. I'll come back to that in a minute. Stephen's journey ended very peacefully on his own terms. He's now relieved from all of the pain. Because the strange thing is that while the nerve ends fry, they are perfectly capable of inflicting enormous amounts of pain. So Stephen's death has a certain amount of sadness, but it also has a great amount of happiness and relief. Because, to me, Stephen has taught me, and I'm hoping us, lessons in the following. Courage to face enormous challenges without fear, proceeding on this journey, knowing where the journey was going to end up, but onwards he went. And in the course of that journey, if you had the opportunity to visit Stephen, you will know that he was at peace with himself, with the journey, and with God. He also taught me a very big element of life: forgiveness. Forgiveness that he sought from others for himself, and that he forgave others for things to him. He also taught a sense of thankfulness for the multitude of caregivers and friends who cared and who helped buoy his courage and to ease his pain. Some of the caregivers are listed in the program, but the enormity of the people that helped Stephen, not only with his care, but with visitation, was enormous, was a large group of people. And we thank you. And I know a lot of them are not here. Lastly, something that I was witness to: readiness to transition in peace with himself. Stephen, on Thanksgiving Day, after inviting me to come to DC, and I managed to arrive at about 10:30, we managed to put together what would become his last wish. help of Wes's two sons, we did something which the nursing home would not do. We lifted him out of bed, brought him into a wheelchair, got him out to the driveway, and you know the production. I want to go over there. Oh, the sun's over there, so let's go over there. He then said, very, very, very pointed words, "It's time to go in." So we took him in and put him back in bed, and then he started having breathing issues. He called me over to the side and said, "I want to go." He went to sleep, and 20 minutes later he had passed. Now the incredible thing about this disease is that it doesn't affect the mind. He was totally clear, intelligent, creative to the core, knew what he wanted until those words. And for me to have that experience of his not only saying those words, but seeing him transition so peacefully was an enormous experience. Now, Stephen, as I said, wanted to be a poster child for ALS. He has asked and he encourages that all of us make an effort and a contribution to not only become aware of this disease for your own self-interest, but to contribute to the ALS Foundation to assist in this process. I had an interesting experience yesterday here in this church, in which one of the people helping us with the setup today came up to me and said, "My daughter, who has a couple of children, has just been diagnosed with ALS, and she doesn't know what to do." And so I tried to connect her to the foundation. There are envelopes at the back of the church. There's also an online link in your program if you feel inclined to contribute. Please do so. Now, I said this is a production. So, I want to advise you that there is, in keeping with young Mr. Bourne's request, as Tommy has referenced, and you are all aware, he had a crew of fireworks helpers and people who did incredible shows for various venues around the territory. And in particular, the Carnival fireworks, everybody remembers lighting up the harbor. So, this evening, at 6:30 p.m., we are going to have a private, small fireworks show at Maidens Bay, at the far western end of the beach, adjacent to the set for Breaking Dawn. You're encouraged to get there by 6:30 so that we can commence the show shortly thereafter, and to bring a flashlight, and to bring a picnic, and enjoy the event, and celebrate Stephen's life. The celebration of Stephen's life will continue with the next event being a memorial in Washington to enable all the people that wanted to celebrate Stephen, but obviously couldn't get there. So January 12th, if you want to be there or you know somebody and they are stateside and they want to come, January 12th, 2 p.m., Trinity Episcopal Church in Tacoma Park, Washington, D.C. And that's not the end of the production. There will be further events involving Miss Warren thereafter, in February and April. I need you to think about what those are. I thank all of you for the support, the courage that you have given us going through this. It has not been easy. And to my dear brother, wheels up. I don't expect you to text back.